Hello Lima, brought to you by Good Food Restaurant, home of Happy Days, Beer Barrel, and Old City Prime. Also by Mercy Health Partners, the Tom family of dealerships, 318 Restaurant and Bar, Lima Pallet Company, and M&W Construction.
Welcome. Today we come to you from the beautiful, recently opened Rhodes State Center for Health Sciences, located in beautiful downtown Lima. Over the last several years, there has been a noticeable decline in undergraduate enrollment. Hello Lima, a community perspective, will be broadcasting a special one-hour town hall. This subject next month is going to be looking at the decline in black higher education and what the numbers look like in Lima, Allen County, and how some of the college and university presidents are addressing this decline. But today, as we start this discussion, this month, we are pleased to be joined by Dr. Renee Bradley, Special Assistant to the President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Rhodes State College. Welcome, Dr. Bradley.
Thank you.
It's certainly a pleasure having you today. And as I said in the opening, this is a beautiful facility, and I would be hard-pressed to find anything in Lima that sort of mirrors this type of educational facility. And I'm appreciative of giving the opportunity to speak with you, but also being able to share with the community and with Hello Lima a perspective of how this facility came to be and a little bit of some background on this facility. But before that, let me get to you as the Special Assistant to the President, Diversity and Inclusion, and that thing that's sort of making our community feel more alive, which is all-inclusive. We're going to talk a little bit about education, and we're going to talk about some of the gaps that I see in Lima from an educational attainment standpoint and just from an enrollment standpoint. And there's no better person to talk to than you, somebody who's educated in the past. And I'd like to use some of your language as, if I could, as a lifelong learner, something that you attest to and something that certainly with your resume, you can see that you are a lifelong learner. Tell a little bit of that. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How has education impacted you personally, Dr. Bradley? How has it changed you? If the viewers always talk about, well, education this, education that, who cares what they, but at the end of the day, it could change generational wealth and generational experiences. How has it impacted you being a lifelong learner?
You know, I like to brag about higher education as an entity in and of itself, not maybe just one specific college or university, but just as an entity in and of itself. And one of the reasons why is because one of the statements that I use quite a bit is that higher education has never failed me. You know, higher education, it's something that, you know, I saw as this little shining diamond when I was in high school. I wanted it. I wanted to get it. I wanted to know what could it do? Could it live up to what was being sold to me? You know, that, hey, if you get this, you know, you'll be able to go places. I was curious about what places
I love
can
that.
That's
what I want the viewers to hear. Because it's not about that sheepskin and that paper. Say it again, doctor.
Go places. Like, where could it take me? You know, my teachers and, you know, in high school and even in junior high, were talking about, if you get a college degree, and even my mother to a certain degree, you know, was that, you know, you're going to be something or go somewhere, you know, with a degree from college. And I wanted to know, what were they talking about? I was curious. And it wasn't just about going physical places. For me, it was even metaphysical places, you know, the places that, you know, and the spaces that maybe I didn't have access to
that is so
without
critical.
it.
That's so critical, especially for low socioeconomic, especially for kids from generational lack of attainment for higher education. Follow me, Dr. Bradley? Being able to be exposed and the curiosity that education in and of itself brings. And it changes lives from generation. It does. And it's just so important to get that. So I appreciate that. But let me ask you this, in your role as a special assistant to the president, one of the ways that you're trying to, one of the things, that you're trying to do is to attract more students. Particular students, and one of the things Hello Lima has like to been able to do, I like to say that Hello Lima brings a perspective. It's called a community perspective. And one of the things we like to do is sort of share things, Dr. Bradley, that you don't get in the normal news cycle or that you don't get from the podcast. That is talking to people and having an interaction about things that may be uncomfortable, things that may you not have known, things that you wish that if you could do something about, how would you do something about it? Let me ask you this question to stop yakking myself, Dr. Bradley. Why has there been so few African American men and women able to achieve the dream that you just spoke about?
I think that one of the reasons why is because there's some barriers and certainly some gaps. And sometimes these barriers and gaps are things that we perceive versus things that really are.
And I'm going to stop you there, Dr. Bradley, because the stats don't bear that out. The stats show you, and I'm going to share this stat with you. One of the things that we like to do is be comfortable, and I appreciate the opportunity to learn from you and our audience. But if I look at the stats, particularly post-COVID, and as COVID was going on, the number of blacks who have been not able to obtain and not able to go, I'm looking at one here, 72% of black students have 71% of black students took out federal loans. Out of that, 25% of them can't pay them back. 42% of them are not graduating or not receiving. These are from the education. I don't want to bore the audience because we have them on the screen. What do you say to those kind of stats, particularly in your position?
Well, I say that for the most part, a lot of those stats, are definitely true. So you read them, yeah. So not a problem. However, as far as validating their, their truth or their credibility.
Right, doctor.
But one of the things that ends up happening too is that there is still that lack of accessibility to other information that can actually help to change those statistics around. So individuals as a whole, by nature, when we're told something, then we perceive that whoever it is that's telling us is telling us with the seat of authority, and that's the final word.
I follow you.
So once we get that information, sometimes then we take it and we settle down and we say, whether we settle down or not, but we take it and we say, okay, well, that's it. I'm not going to be able to go any further because they said. I was talking to a young man who just recently, a young student who
from the black community,
from the black community, who was doing he was explaining and expressing some struggle that he was having with actually getting back into a college, and he's running down the different things that he has been told. And I said, did they tell you about an appeal? And he stopped in his tracks and he said, an appeal. And I said, yeah. I said, because there are different things that you can do in regards to appealing, and certainly making sure that will allow that to process and go through, because somebody really needs to hear your story versus just putting you into a pocket that's saying,
Dr. Bradley,
it's a checklist.
They can't get to that level without people like you in roles. They see people that look like them and have come from where they've come from to a certain degree and can talk their language. And I think that's important. Is it not?
It's very important, because this is one of the reasons why I like working in higher education.
And you've done so for many years.
I have done so for many years, and I like being able to help people in general. But I also realize that being a black woman, being in higher education courses and programs myself, I struggled in regards to where there wasn't anyone who always looked like me, talked like me, or walked like me, to be able to help me to break through some of those barriers and get to the access pieces that I needed. And so I will say that some of those statistics that you read off, while true, there are some of those that could have been probably turned around had the right access and the right information been given and disseminated to a student to be able to make some
Dr.
other
Bradley,
choices and other decisions.
That's so good, because that is critical, which means you could have changed the outcome of data had there been variables in place that could have addressed those hurdles.
Exactly, and I dare say that there were probably those aspects already in place. It's just that for whatever reason, some of those students could not get to them. We're talking about access. We're talking about knowledge. We're talking about making sure that students not just have it in the moment, but one of the things that I'm proud about with Rhodes State College is that we are looking at that from actually talking with and communicating with students at an early age and stage before they get into college.
Before they get to
They're called navigators. We've got navigators on board to be able to talk to students and even say, these are the things that you need to take before you even get there. Exactly. So these are the things you need to be aware of.
Let me put you on the spot again. In 2019, 29% of black population aged 25 to 29 had a bachelor's degree, compared to 45% of the white population. And I know we've talked about this before. How does that stat given what you just said, some of the things not only Rhodes is doing, but a lot of other universities, how does that stat get to that level?
Well, one of the reasons that I believe it gets to that level, again, is because even though that there's things that are being offered, sometimes there has to be a belief, and also, again, the access, and I'm going to keep using that word, but the belief even has to be that, yes, what I'm taking is really going to matter. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to know what it is, where was I going to go? Where could I go? If we're not, illustrating that, and I recognize that this is just one piece of what we call moving a needle or moving a dial within our communities, but if we don't recognize or even know where it can take me, then why am I going? What can I get out of it? Then why am I doing this? Why am I even trying to sign a piece of paper in order to get this particular loan or grant, etc.? I'm going to use what other people have told me, or what maybe, even if especially if I'm first generation,
let's do this,
college
Dr. Bradley. You're making those points are well thought out and it's exciting. Let's take a quick commercial. We're going to come back and look at some stats that are going to surprise people with respect to the student loan debt in terms of who's impacted more. And we're going to get a little taste of this lovely facility we're in. Don't go away.
All right.
Early in the morning when the Happy Days stores open, turn the grills on, get the coffee turned on. Across town, the beer barrels, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Sauces being prepped on the stove. At Old City Prime, everything's from scratch. I think the culture in our company is that we care about our people. And in return, our people care about our customers. Thank you so much to all of our team that's worked for us, and thank you so much to all the communities that we're in for being such great customers.
If you're looking for an honest, dependable, trustworthy auto repair facility, consider Tom All for all your foreign and domestic vehicles.
Our goal is to give you such good service at such a low price that it'll knock your socks off. Our technicians have years of experience working on all types of vehicles.
Whether your car needs brakes, transmission, or engine work, diagnostic report, body work, paint repair, just routine maintenance, we can do it all.
We are a local family-owned business located on Downtown Road in Lima.
For quality work on your vehicle, take it to Tom.
We at Lima Pallet Company thank you, Lima. In 1977, we started a small family business, and today we continue to grow. Lima Pallet is a full-service pallet and crate provider. Every customer is unique, which is why we build pallets and crates to our customers' specific requirements. Because we have our own fleet of trucks, we're able to provide customers with on-time, same-day, and 24-hour emergency deliveries. Coming together is the beginning, keeping it together is progress, and working together is success. Let's continue to succeed.
You are the center of a universe. That's what we've learned in 160 years serving our community. Everybody means the world to someone. So when you're in here, or if someday you find yourself in here, and when all you can think about is the world that revolves around you, we'll be a world that revolves around you too. Mercy Health. Healthcare for the universe of you.
Welcome back. Hello Lima, Community Perspective. It certainly has been entertaining, but that's not what we're about. We're trying to be informative. Dr. Bradley, I want to tell you, and it's on the screen as we speak, something that seems to be so troubling, and I hear it going throughout, you just hear stories of it, particularly the impact in the black community, and that's the student debt. The student debt that is being burdened, particularly with college graduates and those who don't obviously graduate, they still have to carry this debt around. It's just so disproportionately impactful with the black community. And I'm asking you, not somebody who may have all the answers, but if I look at the stat, and I know the one that's on the screen now, blacks make up 17% of student debt over $60,000. 17%, whereas the white population is 6% and the Hispanic. So you don't have all the answers, but you certainly have been informative today, so maybe you do. How do you get to that level of just concern, knowing that the black population is carrying the burden of student debt, but graduating at such a dismal rate? I
am concerned. And it is something to be concerned about. I think that... And
I'm only asking you because you're in a position to make change.
Right. I do really believe that there are some other avenues, other than student debt and going right into student debt that maybe has not been explored. And this is not to cast blame or to say that, hey, shame on you for doing that or making that decision. I am saying, though, that it's information that a lot of times is locked down for students of color, and so here's the information, that is being given, because you're in sports and I'm going to send you here, or you can come here or you can go there, or you want to go to a top 10. We want you in a top 10. So a lot of times colleges and universities will pull even after some students, especially students of color, because yes, believe it or not, we are still living in a country where numbers are being checked off and check boxes are being checked off. So let's just be plain about that.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, what's happening is that, again, not all of the information is being transmitted, and that is my personal opinion. So once information is, as far as that, you can get this same education or this same great sports activity or sports involvement at this college or at that college, or how about this? How about starting at a community college and doing your first 2 years there to be able to save on that particular type of expense and then be able to gravitate.
Dr.
There
Bradley,
are choices and information that students don't have and that they're not getting.
And
sometimes it's just not their fault.
You're absolutely right. But Dr. Bradley, I say this because it's critical.
It is critical.
That debt is generational poor. Follow me, which means it is burdening kids as they become middle-aged. Follow me, they're carrying that with them. So if they don't get more information from people like you, which is a little bit more poignant, if I can use that word, a little bit more on point. Are you taking that message to the streets? As we look at the streets behind us?
I feel like yes. I feel like one of the things that my role does at Rhodes State College is certainly to be able to enlighten students before they get to that debt piece, before they start making the decision. I'm very proud of Rhodes in that regards as well, because a lot of those different types of things were going on even before I got there. And so now it is my charge to be able to say, what is it that is going on that is so fantastic that we do need to make sure that is being spread and messages are being given from a positive aspect. We don't want those numbers to continue to rise. We don't want those.
You're concerned about that.
Exactly.
Yes.
We don't want that.
Yes.
We want to be able to help the next generation of college students to be able to come into environments knowing that, I don't have to worry about, paying that debt.
That's
There's
excellent.
Different grants, there's different, other avenues
and Dr.
that
Bradley,
things can be done.
if you look over my shoulder, we're sitting in the heart of downtown Lima. 28%, 29% are residents of color, which means of Lima, which means you're going to have access to all of this influx of opportunities and exposure that these students are going to come for you. So it's a joy to hear that you're going to do everything you can to give them access to information that give them better choices.
Exactly, and that's what I believe. That's what I believe has really escalated the numbers, that you were sharing. It's not my desire that students roam around with any type of debt, and everybody doesn't have the same level of access. But you know what? Can they? How can we increase in that? And those are the things that we're thinking about and certainly putting on the table and having those honest conversations even within your
framework, your network administration. That is great. And as we talked to Dr. Bradley about the student debt and the impact that it's having on lives, generational lives, we also get an opportunity to share with you this beautiful facility and hope residents in Lima understand in the heart of the community they can come to a 2-year institution like Rhodes, less debt, more opportunities, and you can meet Dr. Bradley. We're going to share with you a little video about the Boris Center and have you take a look.
We at Lima Pallet Company thank you, Lima. In 1977, we started a small family business, and today we continue to grow. Lima Pallet is a full-service pallet and crate provider. Every customer is unique, which is why we build pallets and crates to our customers' specific requirements. Because we have our own fleet of trucks, we're able to provide customers with on-time, same-day, and 24-hour emergency deliveries. Coming together is the beginning, keeping it together is progress, and working together is success. Let's continue to succeed.
You are the center of a universe. That's what we've learned in 160 years serving our community. Everybody means the world to someone. So when you're in here, or if someday you find yourself in here, and when all you can think about is the world that revolves around you, we'll be a world that revolves around you too. Mercy Health. Healthcare for the universe of you.
From early in the morning when the Happy Days stores open, turn the grills on, get the coffee turned on. Across town, the beer barrels, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Sauces being prepped on the stove. At Old City Prime, everything's from scratch. I think the culture in our company is that we care about our people. And in return, our people care about our customers. Thank you so much to all of our team that's worked for us, and thank you so much to all the communities that we're in for being such great customers.
If you're looking for an honest, dependable, trustworthy auto repair facility, consider Tom All for all your foreign and domestic vehicles.
Our goal is to give you such good service at such a low price that it'll knock your socks off. Our technicians have years of experience working on all types of vehicles.
Whether your car needs brakes, transmission, or engine work, diagnostic report, body work, paint repair, just routine maintenance, we can do it all.
We were a local family-owned business located on Downtown Road in Lima.
For quality work on your vehicle, take it to Tom.
Welcome back to Hello Lima. It's been a great topic and a great informative topic, and I hope that we go out of here with a sense of a purpose. Dr. Bradley, let me ask you, in sort of wrapping up this session, we had a chance to see the Boris Center. We had a chance to hear about student debt being impacted, particularly the black community, more so than the white community. We've had a chance to talk about access to information, how it makes it different, having people in your position in a spot to be able to have this dialogue. Mm-hmm. If all that stuff were a perfect world, where do you see education, particularly in the black community, evolving to as you make these changes, Dr. Bradley?
I certainly see education evolving to that point where we have better trained individuals. Okay, better skilled workers, not in a traditional, setting of maybe what someone was used to in my generation. But I'll give you an example of some of the things that just got unfolded even for Rhodes. So in artificial intelligence, when I heard that word utilized, that we're going to be having programs to be able to offer that, for artificial intelligence, I about fell out of my chair.
I follow you.
And I thought, in my head, I was like, this is something that maybe I never even thought that I saw. So now we're not talking so much 21st century, as we're also looking beyond to be able to have higher education sustain individuals. So you get a degree, and this is a life-changing and a sustainable, aspect.
Right.
It's not just a temporary skill.
But Dr.
Bradley,
that's the same thing that you open up this whole show on, talking about how it impacted you as a person, which is what I wanted to get across.
Exactly.
You're trying to do the same thing with this new way of educating today's students.
So a higher education degree, for me, is not just, something that is in the moment of, yes, I'm going to work this job, but this is going to be something that's life sustainable, from an economic standpoint, but also even from, just a knowledge piece. Now I get a chance to take what I know and what I've learned, because everything that we learn in the classroom doesn't necessarily have to do with that particular subject matter. It has to do with life and being able to change the lives of the individuals that we, as we know
Wow,
it. But
good.
now I can take it, I can take what I've learned, and I can also start to then feed the next generation and feed them in a way where they can be sustainable as well.
Wow.
So it's sustaining in a perpetual basis. It's a sustainable aspect for not just one life, but for all lives in my family and in every single person that I come in contact with. Should I desire to share that information, with other people, and that's what we want.
Dr. Bradley,
So-
I am so humbled to hear the words that you're speaking, because I think those words resonate with so many people, but I don't know how many people have had a chance to hear.
Exactly.
If we had a chance to bottle up what you just said and sort of filter it throughout this population, particularly Lima in general, that has a less than in terms of the number of college graduates, I think it would be impactful. And I'm kind of overwhelmed from the standpoint by saying your words matter, your positions matter, and you matter. And I think it's important to have that information and you in the public eye. Having said that, we are going to close, unfortunately. We appreciate you being here, and we love having you, and we look forward to hearing more about what you're doing at Rhodes.
Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Bradley.
Thanks so much for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Today, we had a great start to our discussion on Black students gaining access to higher education and how this decline or lack of opportunities can be seen as a problem for all residents, regardless of color. I'd like to again thank Dr. Bradley, and please reach out to us, Hello Lima's Facebook page and Instagram platforms. And as always, Hello Lima.
Hello Lima, brought to you by Good Food Restaurant, home of Happy Days, Beer Barrel, and Old City Prime. Also by Mercy Health Partners, the Tomaw family of dealerships, 318 Restaurant and Bar, Lima Pallet Company, and M&W Construction.